Can you be the big self and the separate self at the same time?
Can you avoid it?
Can you?
Is there a separate self?
Well, can you?
I was just trying to see. No, because then I'm always just the big self.
I think this is us working it out, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
You see, there isn't a right answer. But I mean, perhaps you can say, well, I'm discovering I am the big one. I am that. I am always this. But the way I think about it, because seeing this, I still feel self-conscious. And the way I think about it is, I see that I am the one, and I act as if I'm Richard. So one is direct experience, and the other is a kind of understanding in a way, but a deep kind of feeling of being separate. So I find that the private experience of being the one goes along with this kind of social identity. This is why I'm talking to you now. I'm acting as if I'm Richard talking to Jessie, right? And it's not just acting, because I deeply believe it. I accept it so profoundly. I have no choice about it.
It's method acting.
You know, it's in my genes to act as if you've got your own thoughts and feelings there. I don't directly experience it, but this is the joy, really. This is the journey we've been through. The one, when you wake up to the one, it's not then, in my experience, suddenly discovering there's no one else, and there's only now and there's only here. There is. That's my private experience. That's the joy, isn't it? I'm not contained. Oh, what a relief. It's not dependent on confirmation from you guys. You know, it's just self-evident. It's non-verbal. It's not dependent on me feeling a particular way or understanding anything about it. It's just direct experience. But at the same time, I am kind of deeply convinced of the reality of you guys. I am the one who is the one acting as if there's many. Which was the whole point to me of going through that period of forgetting I was the one, so that I could deeply believe in you guys and in a world and in time. So now I'm the one meeting with itself today to talk and share and explore being the one that is also somehow many. Fantastic.
So that being one of many, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
We are all the one as one. So we're all together as one. When we were doing that exercise before this one, and we were listening to the sound,
Yeah.
there was a sense in, I got a lovely reconnection with something that, like you, I just got a little bit off track a bit, but wasn't beating myself up, knew I would come through to another space, and just then I got a lovely sense of fluidity, but it wasn't water or creamy liquid, but it was a fluid, and then suddenly I was one with the bird sounds out there, but I was actually one with them.
Yeah.
And there,
Yeah.
but here. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
And when we're talking now, you hear my voice and you hear your voice, right?
Yes.
And both voices are in you, aren't they?
Yes.
And so really, you know, if I'm Richard, you know, I'm here and you're there, so I identify socially with this voice and you identify with that one. So that's instinctive, isn't it? You know, and I identify with this body and you identify with that one. But now we're also aware of the one. And from that point of view, I have both bodies and I have both voices. And I really am the one now. There's only one field of listening and there's no distance. And it's, I can't understand it, but it's fantastic, fantastic. Really, it's a different way of hearing, isn't it?
Well, it's intimate, isn't it?
Yeah, and that really listening to someone and being present for that person that's speaking with you, although we're all listening, being present there, and that voice is, your voice is in me and mine in you. it helps you to understand how your words carry so much power and how we must always be watching, not watching, but aware of what we're saying, because it's us, but it's them. So why would you ever offend or judge or criticise or
Yeah.
need to?
I know.
Judge not, lest thee be judged.
Mm.
All those sayings start to make sense.
Yes.
They're not prescriptions for a kind of moral goodness. They're actually descriptions of how it actually is.
Yes, how it
It's
is.
a big difference. And love thy neighbour as thyself, not as if he is yourself,
Yes.
but as thyself, because he is yourself.
Yes.
That's right.
And also, this is a level of communication, if you like, that you know, if you try and communicate about something you're feeling, I mean, even just at the physical level, you know, I've got pain in my left toe. I mean, you don't know much yet about it, do you? You know, and it's rather hard for me to actually, you know, you've got to have had the pain, I suppose, yourself. You know, for example.
Yeah.
But now if I say, so now let's communicate about what is nearer to us than anything, this openness, and it has no boundary. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes, it is no, everything's in it.
Yeah.
Yes, you see. And we have both, don't we? We have the outward view is impossible to communicate completely, but the whole is what we are.
This is one of the great paradoxes. I mean, people talk in spiritual circles of this being the ineffable, undescribable, and something that you can't get to, which is true. But on the other hand, it's the thing we can agree on most readily of anything. You know, it is the most. This no shape, no form, awake emptiness. It's got no attributes. So I can strongly feel that it's the same there as it is here. There's not different
Common
versions
ground.
of it.
It's common ground.
Common ground, exactly right. The real common ground, prior to any agreement or disagreement.
I think it's very promising for society, isn't it, that we're just ordinary people here and we're meeting, and yet we're aware of the common ground. You know. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to act in any particular way with each other, but it's very promising and very hopeful, isn't it?
Yes, because it ripples out. It's like critical mass can be reached in other countries from here. Because the more that are aware, without having to preach it to anybody, just being at one with others affects the rest.
And so easy to share.
Yes.
No head. I think we're going to have a break fairly soon, in a quarter of an hour perhaps, or 10 minutes. And I wondered about just doing the no-head circle together. So we look down and we, I think, notice your own body first. And notice that it vanishes into nothing, into your single eye. And your body's coming out of this clarity. And then look down at the floor there in the middle of the circle, and you can see the circle of feet, circle of bodies, and they all fade out at some point into this single eye at the top. And there's only one eye, only one consciousness, only one capacity, and I suppose you could say each of us is all of that. And everyone's in it. And down there we're many, and at the top we're one. Is that true for you? And this includes the birds, doesn't it? The bird song, everything is in this. The many there, many humans, many species. One, simple, undivided clarity with many voices, many views out. And just the way that it's given, the way we're built, not a matter of having to understand it in a particular way or feel it in a particular way. It's deeper than that in a sense. Our common ground, as Chris was saying. Any reflections to share?
When I look down, I can see a lot of feet and compare them to each other. Some have got shoes on and some haven't, and some have got sort of little shoes on. When I bring my attention up, there's nothing to compare with. It's all the one.
And the stillness here.
I keep thinking of a word that you used to use, Richard. I think you used to use it a lot before, and that was capacity.
What does that mean to you?
Oh, just letting everything be within you and no fighting anything, and just, yeah, a container for the whole.
I know what you mean. There's always something new arising in this capacity, isn't there? Fresh, never happened before, not in one's personal control. Miraculously appearing. Okay, let's sit down. So we're going to break in a few minutes. Any reflections to share at the moment just about the process? Being together.
I was thinking about the hypnosis metaphor. And, I've been watching Derren Brown's program on TV. He does these experiments with hypnosis. He's very skillful hypnotist. At the end of the experiment, whatever is done, whatever is convinced the person to experience, and some of it's quite far out and bizarre, he always takes a lot of trouble to bring them back and tell them what happened and bring them in on the joke and de-hypnotise them, so to speak. And that's what we're doing for each other here in this group, is we've got together and thought, wow, what a long, strange trip that was. You know, we can wake up as we really are, unhypnotised.
I found what we've been doing, I've been feeling a bit, dropping off a bit. But when we did this exercise here, I feel very energised. I feel really clear in my eyesight's become clearer and just very energised.
What do you think it is about that then?
I think it was just completely joining as one in the group. The group was very strong energy happening there, just because we're all focused with the same idea. And I think because I was one with that, it energised me. Helped me to clear something that was fuzzying me up at the time before.
I was feeling so much pain in my shoulders that it was an effort to stay like that. So I was flipping between experiencing the one and
And the little
experiencing the
one.
bodily,
Experiencing the hurting Chris.
the hurting Chris. Yeah.
You have to be aware of the hurting Chris too.
Yes, yes. And then, and then I just had a thought, oh, it's just a sensation in the one, the one can take it.
I noticed that there's just I don't know how it works, but it's like you just get an upwelling of just like happiness. I just always just want to be happier and happier. We're just sitting around talking about nothing.
Literally.
It just makes me so happy. It's just ridiculous. And everything, it all just makes my whole life just seem like, oh, well, that's okay. It's like it's a relief, and it's.
Why do you think it makes you happy? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
I think it's that word because that came up for me a few times. The capacity. When you just think, I'm capacity. It's like, well, what can't you handle? Like, what can't be handled, or what needs to be? It's just there, and you're bigger than. You're the container for it. Not that container is even the right word, but it's happening within the field of you.
Is it because
The body is like the perceptions of the body. It's still out there. It's contained within me, and the feelings are still. They're part of that. They're part of what's in the field. They're part of the field. I suppose is the best.
You're not contained.
I don't know what's in the field. I don't know what makes us so happy. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from.
Great.
I feel
John?
silly now.
No. I love your joy.
I
And,
know what you're trying to express.
yeah.
It's almost impossible to express.
Yeah, it's like, even by generally saying with Sam and Neville, I'm sitting around with dicks with people, it's like, I don't know, there's some, we just have to talk a bit about headless or whatever it is, and it just comes, it's just such a joy.
Yes. It's you can't put it into words, but we try, and we want to, because we're together and we want to share our reactions here, and this simple experience on one level, it's just such freedom, isn't it? You're not contained in anything. It's all in you. Capacity. These are words to try, and the one is just amazed.
There's a sense of relief, I think, in a sense. I mean, the identification with separateness always carries with it some sort of degree of anxiety, because the separate self always has to sort of guard against the, others and being overwhelmed by the one, and so when there's the realisation, it's kind of like coming home after a long drive, and you're weary, and there's just that sense of relief. So I think that's a trigger for the upwelling of happiness, somehow.
But there can be anxiety and you can still,
Yeah.
you can have the anxiety and you can still know that.
Yeah. Nothing's opaque to it.
No.
That's the wonderful thing. You don't have to get yourself into a special reflective mood or calm yourself down. It's just there. It's in your giving.
I feel happy when I don't when I'm not holding up my separate self, because it takes a lot of energy. And when that's not happening, then I'm naturally happy. I think I'm happy. And holding up my separate self is something that is where the effort is. But my natural state is happy, and when the more I'm headless with you guys, the more I'm just in my natural state.
Yes.
I think as the resistance drops away, resistance to what is, and for me anyway, and I find I feel a deep relaxation, physically, bodily. And it's like my body's stopped this kind of, this resistance thing. I don't need that protection anymore. Yeah, the happiness wells up
Out of nothing.
Yeah, it's uncaused. It's uncaused happiness. We're not used to this. Usually we have an excuse for being happy. There's no excuse.
So stop it!
John, were you going to say something?
Yes, I was just going to say it's just experiencing the source without having to put any words or define it in any way whatsoever. I took what you were It was, sorry, just experience without defining it.
And I think that word happiness has been bandied around so much too, Sharon. Yeah. What we're talking about is something not externally stimulated. It's very pure, original.
Charlotte Yoko Beck, one of my favorite Zen teachers, says, joy is whatever's happening at the moment, minus my opinion about it.
That's great.
Okay, so we're going to have a coffee break and see where the coffee goes.